Hello, welcome back to Slaggy Book Club. I'm Cameron and Southern Hemisphere. I promise I didn't forget about you. I love you the most. Don't tell the North. I just had to spend a little bit of extra time collating your perfect winter reading list. You may have seen that I posted a summer reading list for my up north followers and also for anybody heading on a Euro summer or perhaps a Japan summer. But this right here is for those who will be staying down south in the cold, keeping cozy, rugging up, sat, book in hand for the entire 3 months of the season. And so here we are, the winter reading list. Now, this list consists of books that I have read that I think would be perfect winter reads that I think you should absolutely pick up, that I can vouch for. I'm then going to take you through the books that are on my winter reading list on my TBR that I am saving for those cold, cold days where I can just curl up and be all snug and cozy while it rains outside, and they will set the perfect vibe. And finally, I'm going to let you know about some books that are coming out throughout the winter. So plenty of titles to be excited about. Get your notepad and pen, get your notes app out because I've got your winter sorted. And guys, remember to make sure that you are following the Slaggy Book Club Instagram. Everything I post on here, I post over there. So it is the perfect resource for you to go and check out all of the books that I talk about right there in the palm of your hand. Also, if you want, check out my TikTok. I talk shit there too. Now, the first book that I have to tell you to read this winter has just released. And I'm going to be so honest with you, I am only halfway through it. But it's my current read and I'm adoring it. I am absolutely adoring it. It spans a year. It's not simply set in winter, but it just has a winter vibe to it. I can't put my finger on it. It's Ocean Vuong's new novel, The Emperor of Gladness. And if you know Ocean Vuong, if you've read perhaps On Earth We Are Briefly Gorgeous, then you know that man is so talented. He put together the most beautiful prose and stories with so much heart. I just feel like this book is really warming my soul. The synopsis goes like this. One late summer evening in the post-industrial town of East Gladness, Connecticut, 19-year-old Hai stands on the edge of a bridge in pelting rain, ready to jump, when he hears someone shout across the river. The voice belongs to Grazina, an elderly widow succumbing to dementia who convinces him to take another path. And over the course of the year, the unlikely pair develop a life-altering bond. What I'm loving most about reading this story is that it is full of kind people. It is full of nice characters. It's really as simple as that. I want to expand, but actually no, the characters in this story are kind, gentle, accepting people. And there's, because of that, a lot of hope in this story, and it's really beautiful. If you don't want to be heartwarmed and instead want your skin to crawl, perhaps I can interest you in a little dystopian horror. The Unworthy by Agustina Bazterrica. I read this a month or so ago, let's say. I actually posted a reading vlog of it, so you can go and check that out and you can see the absolute emotional roller coaster that book took me on. It is so intense, so icky, yucky, gross. It is Agustina Bazterrica after all. This is set in a post-apocalyptic world, essentially. And our protagonist stumbles upon the House of Sacred Sisterhood. Now, in this old convent building is a sort of women's refuge, if I could be so generous as to call it that. The women in this place are deemed unworthy. They're called unworthies. And they live in fear of the superior sister's whip. Their ultimate goal is to become enlightened. This is, I suppose, a sort of religion that has been formed. There is, at the top, an unknowable man. Below him is the superior sister, and then it's the unlightened, the unworthy, and a level even lower than that. To become enlightened, you have to commit gruesome self-sacrifices, and the girl's desperation to reach enlightenment kind of turns them against each other. Now, our protagonist, though she is not allowed and actually is risking her life in doing this, is keeping a journal, and that is what we are reading. Now, she doesn't always have ink to write in this journal. Sometimes she must prick her finger and write in blood, but she is doing her best to document her time within the sacred sisterhood. And then a new woman shows up and rocks the boat, shall we say. It's fascinating, these authors that come out of countries like Argentina who have such brutal histories and current realities. The political landscape of Argentina in particular is what Agustina and, plenty of other authors like Mariana Enriquez draw upon in their horror dystopian writing, and it's fascinating that is what they lean towards. As much as they are disturbing, I think that they are really important fictional texts. And so if you can hack the body horror, if you can hack the scary, eerie elements, then I think it's really important to read particularly Argentinian authors. Next, of course, you saw it coming. It's The Safekeep by Yael van der Wouden. I'll never be able to pronounce it properly. Hello and welcome to my channel. If you have not picked up on the fact that you need to read The Safekeep, what have you been doing? Are you watching my videos on mute? Is that what's happening? Are you ignoring me? Hello? I'm just gonna say this. I looked at it after my colleague raved, and I went, what do you mean? That's a historical fiction for my mum or something. It's so not gonna be for me. Stop. Look, listen, think. I'm telling you right now, you won't regret reading this book. Okay, now let me take you through my winter TBR. There are a few different things throughout. There are 4 books that I want to go through, and the first one is a classique. A classique, because what better time to read a classic novel than winter? There's just something so like cottagecore cozy about reading classic literature. And I'm going to read Shirley Jackson's We Have Always Lived in the Castle. I am not great with horror films, but I have a very deep curiosity about horror literature. Now, this is Shirley's final novel, her last work that she published, and it kind of actually is giving vaguely similar vibes to The Safekeep. We've got a young girl, a young woman who is very protective of her home, and then someone close to the family comes to stay, and she is deeply, deeply suspicious of them. Okay? I just found out my colleague resigned. Woof! Okay, sorry, that's what I get for not putting my phone on Do Not Disturb when I film. Yes, I do film on my phone. No fancy camera equipment in this house. We're not there yet. Never say never. Now, we've always lived in the castle. Basically, this follows Mary Cat, whose family have always lived in this house. It's their family home. They've always lived there, even when Mary Cat's sister Constance was accused of murdering the rest of their family. She was acquitted. They stay living there. They carry on with their lives. Mary Cat's very protective of their way of life. But then cousin Charles comes to stay, and much like when the new woman arrives at the sacred sisterhood in The Unworthy, the boat is rocked. Now, I only just found out that there's actually a film of We Have Always Lived in the Castle, starring Daddario, Alexandra, I was going to say Madeline, Alexandra Daddario, and Sebastian Stan. However, I watched the trailer and it doesn't really look that good. But who knows, maybe I'll read this book, love this book, and then really want to watch the film. We move on. The next book that I'm going to read this winter is Carmilla, the original vampire text that predates Dracula. Now, this has recently come into public consciousness again, thanks to the release of its quite disappointing derivative, Hungerstone. I don't know if you saw that book that was recently released. It is very heavily inspired by Carmilla. In fact, the vampire character in Hungerstone is Carmilla. It's her. So people now have newly become aware of Carmilla by Sheridan Le Fanu, and I'm curious. I actually haven't read Dracula either, and I feel like I want to, but I would like to start with this. This is a sapphic romance that was released in the 1870s. So, hell yeah. Now, I have wanted, these are so far all backlist titles, and we are still pushing. I have always wanted to read an Octavia Butler, and I am particularly interested in the parable of the sower, but I did find this copy of Kindred at the op shop, and so I simply could not go past it. That would have been rude. Look at me doing genre. Octavia was an acclaimed science fiction author, incredibly important voice, well ahead of her time. She wrote stories with sharp political commentary. They're feminist stories. They discuss race injustice, right? But unfortunately, at the time that they were being published, despite the fact that they were being awarded, there wasn't really a commercial market for these kinds of stories. It wasn't until after Octavia E. Butler passed away in 2006 that they started to get the recognition that they have now, where they're quite a big deal and quite spoken about. So I'm very excited to get into this one. It essentially follows Dana, who is suddenly transported from her life in 1976 California to a southern plantation in 1815. And as she travels back and forth through time, I think like against her will, she doesn't have power over it. A white slave owner at the plantation has power over it. She comes to learn about her history and why she is being pulled through time. And lastly, I am really excited to finally get stuck into The Dream Hotel by Lalami. This is another science fiction, speculative type story, although this one isn't quite so far-fetched as time travel. It feels a little closer to the real world. Side note, I love these Bloomsbury proof editions because they low-key kind of look like a Fitzcarraldo edition book. Like if I put that in my bookshelf, it's giving Fitzcarraldo. Slay. But also like sad because the Dream Hotel actual cover is really cool. Anyways, this follows our protagonist Sarah, who's on her way home from a conference abroad. She's at the airport and she gets stopped because there's this new technology. Essentially, like the government monitors our dreams, and she's been having dreams that sort of indicate that she might want to harm her husband. And so she is deemed a risk, a threat, if you will, and she is detained at this correctional facility type place where people who have threatening dreams and are deemed potential risks to society are held to be sort of, I guess, rehabilitated before they can be released back into the world. However, as she is in there, she sort of realizes that it doesn't really seem like release is gonna happen for her. The rules by which she has to play by in order to be released keep sort of moving. And here's this trope again. A new person arrives at the facility and, say it with me, rocks the boat. Yes, indeed. This seems so eerie, creepy, very Black Mirror, and I've been hearing good things. I've been hearing good things about it. And I think it's giving autumn, it's giving cusp of winter. So I'm gonna start reading it really soon, I think. I don't want to wait. And you know what? It's already cold here, so it basically is winter. But yeah, I'm really excited. Oh, there's graphs and charts and stuff in here. And redacted bit. Oh my God. Juicy. Hey, have you hit subscribe? Follow? What about that little bell that tells you when I post? If you haven't, you might be missing my bonus episodes. Clicking the buttons is the best way to show your support for Saggy Book Club. The second best is to just be here. So thank you. Let's get back to it. And now I'm going to tell you about 3 books that are being released throughout winter in Australia that seem very cool. And guys, I had to cut down this list so much. There are so many books coming out in winter. And truthfully, a lot of them are quite summery because we get a lot from the US market. But a lot of them sound really good. And so if you want an extended video of like all the books coming out in winter, I can definitely do that. Let me know in the comments. But for now, here are 3 highlights. First, we have What Hunger by Catherine Dang. Have you seen this cover doing the rounds on socials? It is so cool. I'm obsessed with it. This is a little bit of a horror, a feminist horror, if you will, a haunting coming-of-age tale following the daughter of Vietnamese immigrants, Ronnie, as she grapples with the weight of generational trauma while navigating the violent power of teenage girlhood. It's the summer before high school, and Ronnie's days are spent dozing off to trashy magazines. In contrast stands her brother Tommy, the pride of their immigrant parents and destined to be the first in the family to attend college. Their parents rarely speak of their past in Vietnam except through the lens of food. In the aftermath of the war, Mi and Ba taught Ronnie and Tommy that meat was a dangerous luxury, a symbol of survival that should never be taken for granted. But when tragedy strikes, Ronnie's world is upended. Her sense of self and her understanding of her family are shattered. A few nights later at a party, a boy crosses the line, and Ronnie is overtaken by a force larger than herself. This newfound power comes with an insatiable hunger for flesh, a craving that is both a saving grace and a potential destroyer. Did somebody say female rage? The Hounding by Xenobe Purvis. I've never seen this name before. And before I get into it, this is our cover, but this is America's cover. Oh, isn't that upsetting? Oh my God, I want to get my hands on the US cover so bad. Now, this is a strange and haunting historical debut about the Mansfield sisters, 5 wild girls who are rumored to turn into a pack of dogs. Okay, night bitch. Many stories are told about the 5 Mansfield sisters. They are haughty, thinking themselves better than their neighbours in the picturesque village of Little Nettlebed. Little Nettlebed! They've taken the death of their grandmother hard. They're liars, troublemakers, untamed and dangerous. Accounts of their behaviour differ, but the villagers all agree that the girls are odd. One long summer, a heat wave descends. Bloated sea creatures wash up along the parched riverbed. Animals grow frenzied. Ravens gather on the roofs of those about to die. As the stifling heat grips the village, so does a strange rumour. The Mansfield sisters have been seen transforming into a pack of dogs. It's kind of giving Lapvona kind of vibes, right? With the witch trials only a recent memory, hysteria sets in. Slowly but surely, the villagers become convinced that something strange is taking root in Little Nettlebed. Oh my gosh, it sounds so good. And finally, Great Black Hope by Rob Franklin. An arrest for cocaine possession in the Hamptons on the last day of a sweltering summer leaves Smith, a young black queer graduate, in a state of turmoil. He finds himself in an absurd but dangerous situation. His class protects him, but his race does not. Just weeks before, his beloved roommate Elle died, and he is still reeling. How well did he know his closest friend, and what really happened to her the night she disappeared? Will his search for the truth cost him his freedom and his future? Fleeing to his hometown of Atlanta and the generations of his family who are doctors and college presidents and lawyers, Smith is haunted by the weight of expectation. When Carolyn, the closest friend he has left, goes off the rails, he must return to New York, only to lose himself in his old life, drawn back into the city's underworld. All 3 of those books sound so strong and powerful and just cool, right? Guys, tell me what's on your winter reading list. Is it any of the books in this video? Have you put any of the books that I've just talked about on your list? Or do you have something else that you're excited to read? Let me know down in the comments, or jump over to my Instagram at Psyche Book Club and send me a DM. They're always open. I don't always see them. There is like hidden requests, and then there's hidden requests, and every now and then I remember to look in the hidden requests, and supposedly that folder is for like yuck, abusive, bad stuff, but I go in there and it's like, hey girl, I read this book because of you and I just wanted to say thanks. And the message has been sitting there for like 2 weeks because it's been hidden by Instagram. And then at that point, I'm like, it's kind of weird if I reply now. So then I don't reply. But it's still like really nice to receive the message. Anyways, all that is to be said, the DMs are open. I just might not see the DM for a few weeks. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to check out my summer reading recs if you are going on holiday this winter, if you live in the Northern Hemisphere, or if you're the kind of person who wants to escape the winter by reading summery stories. That video is for you. Go and check it out. Thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.